Okay, so the last thing I was saying was that my dad wanted to be involved in every single aspect of the business and always have the final say. And part of that was, even though he didn't really say, it wasn't what he said that let us know that he expected to be involved in everything. It was more so in the way he inserted himself in everything. For instance, if I was going to send an email to someone we were doing business with, he would say, well, let's just sit down and do it together. But because of the relationship we had, I know his behavior wasn't because he didn't believe that I could send a proper email or that I was incompetent. It was just that he felt the need to control everything. What I didn't know back then was that even though he had the best intentions, his leadership style was driven by fear. His need for control was a reaction to his fear of failure. He believed if he had control over every aspect of the business, then he could guarantee success. In his defense, he had invested so much into the business and put so much pressure on himself to succeed that his fear of failing, his self-doubt and anxiety had all manifested into him becoming a controlling leader. By the time we were in business for 2 years, unfortunately, I pretty much walked away because that was the only way to preserve my family relationships. But what I learned from this experience was that my dad had made the most critical mistake a leader can make. He failed to empower us. First, we didn't have a shared vision of the business. He didn't share his vision with us in a way that we could participate effectively in achieving the business goals. We all had our own ideas about the vision for the business, so we were not working together as a cohesive team. Second, we received constant criticism, and he was always jumping to corrective actions instead of working with us to find solutions. Third, my dad was inflexible. He would cling way too hard to his way of doing things. He was unwilling to hear about different ideas, and he did not make room for innovation or improvement. Fourth, he didn't allow us to contribute our own skills, knowledge, and abilities in a way that we could have any type of meaningful contribution. And finally, he was not open to feedback. Anytime we discussed issues with him, he would take it personally and wouldn't consider that the feedback was just for the best interest of the business, that we wanted the best for the business. Working with my dad would have been a different experience if he had a different mindset about leadership and a different mindset about his role as a leader. Now, I want you to think about your own personal story. Can you think of a time which you did not feel empowered in your position? Think about how it made you feel. Or maybe you might have been the one in the leadership position that failed to empower others. Were you aware of your behaviors? As we move forward, I want you to keep your personal story in mind. But if you don't have one, feel free to use mine. Now let's go over the learning objectives. In this session, you will learn what is empowering leadership and why is it important, how to shift your mindset to resolve your empowerment challenges, how to commit to and cultivate authentic empowerment, and ways you can move forward in your leadership development. Let's begin with the concept of empowering leadership. Just consider for a moment that leaders spend the majority of their time focusing on external factors, whether it be people, policies, or outcomes. When it comes to people, we are constantly attempting to influence others to achieve our mission and goals. Empowerment is one of those ways that we influence others and has been proven effective in stronger job performance, job satisfaction, and commitment to an organization. So how do we empower others? The answer lies in examining ourselves first and transforming our mindset about leadership. Because empowerment occurs when leaders share their power with others by allowing them to be independent. This builds confidence, which allows individuals to think and act on their own. Because they are self-sufficient, they can make decisions and handle difficult situations in their own way. So why should you make empowering others your number one priority? Individuals that feel empowered are independent thinkers. They take initiative and responsibility, they assume ownership, and they deliver on their commitment. They understand the goals, purpose, and objective of an organization and recognize how important their work is to the company in achieving all of those. Empowered employees are engaged employees. Engaged employees provide better customer satisfaction, are innovative, are 43% more productive than their peers, and produce 26% higher revenue. They also positively influence other employees, are more enthusiastic about their work, are comfortable staying in their role, and offer positive suggestions for the organization. An empowered workforce results in higher retention rates. 78% of people who quit their jobs state lack of appreciation as their reason for leaving. And since turnover costs can run anywhere from 25% to 250% of a position's annual salary, employee retention is even more important considering the current state of our economy. From a business perspective, companies that empower employees experience better financial rewards. Employee empowerment can double an organization's annual net income. Research indicates that more than 70% of executives believe that employee empowerment is the key to organizational success. Still, many businesses struggle to empower their employees, resulting in a loss of $450 billion a year. That's why employee empowerment is the key. So how do we do it? How do we empower others? To ensure that individuals feel empowered, leaders must create the conditions that enable them to have more power over their actions and outcomes. These conditions consist of developing confidence and competence, forming an atmosphere of collaboration, and giving individuals autonomy over their work. Developing confidence and competence involves investing in training and other opportunities that enhance learning and development. Forming an atmosphere of collaboration facilitates relationship building and motivates individuals to rely on one another to achieve common goals. Joint efforts can lead to extraordinary results when individuals consider the abilities and opinions of others and are willing to share knowledge and information. Finally, autonomy fosters trust, motivation, confidence, and competence. When individuals have the power to make decisions over their own work, their knowledge, skills, and abilities are increased. They are encouraged to be personally accountable for their behaviors and actions, and they have a greater sense of accomplishment. Now, in order for leaders to create these conditions, we must have the mindset that a true and effective leader is not interested in having followers. We are interested in creating more leaders. Sometimes it's easier said than done. When we begin first by acknowledging what might be holding us back from empowering the people that we lead. Many times the way we view leadership requires a shift in our mindset if we want to create authentic empowerment. This can be accomplished through a journey of self-discovery. And then we can align our beliefs with our actions and take steps to continue moving forward in our personal and professional growth. Self-discovery can mean many things. It can mean finding yourself, who you are, what you want to be. It can mean becoming aware of your true potential, your purpose in life, and what core principles are guiding you. It can mean personal growth. But however we do self-discovery, it ultimately allows us to gain a better insight into ourselves. This is important for anyone who would like to make a change in their life. Self-discovery is also very helpful in assisting leaders in developing an empowering mindset. Self-discovery consists of self-reflection, which is the process of looking inside yourself in describing what you see. Self-questioning, which is the process of asking yourself questions to get to know who you really are. And self-awareness, which is having a clear understanding of your strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, beliefs, motivation, and emotion. Self-reflection answers the question, who am I? From here, you're able to identify every aspect of yourself with the intention of becoming more aware. Until you take the journey of self-reflection, it is almost impossible to grow or learn in life. Self-reflection is also an important skill for any successful leader. It is part of leadership development, which allows us to bridge the gap between leadership theory and professional practice. I suggest using a journal to organize your thoughts and express your true feelings. After some time, you can go back and read what was written in the past, allowing you to evaluate your ideas with a renewed outlook. You're also able to acknowledge how much you've learned about yourself and see your personal and professional growth. From a leadership standpoint, we can begin self-reflection by asking ourselves, what type of leader am I? For example, we might have some false beliefs and misconceptions about leadership. Self-reflection is one way we can acknowledge and abandon those beliefs. Let's go on a brief journey of self-discovery together, using this as an example. I'm gonna go over some statements, and as we go over them, acknowledge to yourself which of these you believe are true. True or false? Employees need to be supervised closely or they're not likely to do their work. It is fair to say that most employees in the general population are lazy. As a rule, employees must be given rewards or punishments in order to motivate them to achieve organizational objectives. Most employees feel insecure about their work in any direction. Leaders need to help subordinates accept responsibility for completing their work. The leader is the chief judge of the achievements of the members of the group. It is the leader's job to help subordinates find their passion. And lastly, effective leaders give orders and clarify procedures. Now, just so you're aware, these statements were taken from a leadership styles questionnaire. In 2019, I conducted a study using a survey consisting of these statements. Out of the 131 leaders that participated, 16 of them believed that most of these statements were true. 106 believed that some of them were true, but there were only 9 leaders that believed none of these were true. How many did you find yourself in agreement with? Most of us could probably say that at least we believe that one of these statements are true. But these statements represent the beliefs of an autocratic leader, which is the complete opposite of a leader that empowers others. And I'm gonna tell you what the full definition of an autocratic leader is coming up soon. But this type of thinking is why autocratic leaders exist. So after seeing these statements, do you consider yourself an autocratic leader? If not, what type of leader do you most identify with? If you're not sure, let's briefly go over some leadership styles. As we go over each of these, I want you to consider if you can relate to any of them and if you think they are empowering. Like I talked about before, an autocratic leader. An autocratic leader makes decisions without taking input from anyone who reports to them. Employees are neither considered nor consulted prior to a direction and are expected to adhere to the decision at a time and pace stipulated by their leader. A democratic leadership is exactly what it sounds like. The leader makes decisions based on the input of each team member. Although the leader may make the final call, each employee has an equal say in decisions, and it allows employees to exercise authority. Delegative leadership is a type of leadership style in which leaders are hands-off and allow team members to make all the decisions. Strategic leadership refers to a manager's potential to express a strategic vision for the organization and to motivate and persuade others to achieve that vision. Transformational leadership is always transforming and improving the company's operations while constantly pushing employees outside of their comfort zone. Transactional leaders reward their employees for precisely the work they do, like a transaction. Coach style leadership is similar to a sports team coach. This leader focuses on identifying and nurturing the individual strengths of each member of the team. They also focus on strategies that will enable their team to work better together. And they place a lot of emphasis on the growth and success of their individual employees. And lastly, bureaucratic leaders, they go by the book. This style of leadership might listen and consider the input of employees, unlike an autocratic leader, but they also tend to reject employees' input if it conflicts with company policy or past practices. Now, you may or may not have identified with any of these, or you may identify with several of them. As part of the self-reflecting process, the point is to identify what type of leader you are. Once you're able to answer the who am I question, you can begin to ask yourself questions on how you perceive life. Questioning how you perceive life brings you to the truth. In my coaching program, I use a list of questions that can help jumpstart the process of helping you understand how you perceive life. And what it does is really open your mind to how some of your beliefs and actions don't necessarily align. Just like the example I gave before, if you believe that you're an empowering leader, but you also supervise your staff closely, your beliefs and actions don't necessarily align, so you may not be cultivating authentic empowerment. I'll talk more about authentic empowerment in a little while, but the basic premise of self-questioning is to understand how you perceive life. Now, the self-questioning process from a leadership perspective can be taken in the form of a leadership assessment, or you can create your own list of questions. How do I define leadership? Am I the type of leader I want to be? What do I believe is my role as a leader? What more can I learn about being an effective leader? How am I developing as a leader? Have I been seeking enough feedback? Or if I was one of my employees, how would I honestly rate myself and why? The final step in this journey of self-discovery is getting to a place of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without attachments to it being right or wrong, good or bad. Self-awareness allows you to have a clear understanding of your strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, beliefs, motivation, and emotions. This is so important because without knowing all of these things, it is difficult to make positive and consistent change. Once you become more self-aware, you can objectively evaluate yourself, manage your emotions, align your behavior with your values, and understand correctly how others perceive you. In our example, through self-reflection, we have identified what type of leader we are. Through the self-questioning process, we have identified what type of leader we want to be. Now, through self-awareness, we can see the gap between where you are and where you want to be. One of the best ways to increase self-awareness is to write down in your journal what you have learned about yourself so far. How would you complete these statements? I am great at. I can improve in. My biggest area of focus is. I am close to mastering. I am effective when it comes to. I can benefit from developing. Now that you're able to complete these statements and you're becoming more self-aware, you can move forward with developing your vision and goals. Self-awareness is necessary for this piece of the development process and is unique to what you have discovered about yourself. Just give me one minute so I can get a sip of water. Thank you for your patience. My throat is so dry. Okay, the first step is to write a leadership vision statement when developing your vision and goals. Writing a leadership vision statement is essential for holding yourself accountable as the leader you want to be. Your statement should include who do you want to be as a leader and what do you want your employees to take away from working with you. Here's an example. My leadership vision statement is to consistently lead with integrity, fairness, humility, and clear and honest communication, to mentor and develop my team, all the while creating a respectful, enjoyable, and professional working environment. After you complete your vision statement, you then want to set SMART goals that align with what you expect from yourself. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Specific answers: who, what, where, which, why, how, and by when. Measurable answers the question how much or how many. Attainable identifies the skills, abilities, and attributes needed to reach these goals. Realistic ensures the goals are attainable, and timely identifies the time frame to achieve the established objectives. Now, you've been on a journey of self-discovery to develop your new leadership mindset, and you've set your vision and goals, but it means nothing without aligned actions. So how do we go about aligning your actions? There are 5 practices that can help you align your empowering leadership mindset, your goals, with your actions. First, you must be the change. Gaining the commitment of others requires first being clear about our own values and then being an example for others to see our values in action. Being clear about our values requires understanding the principles and values guiding our decisions. Then as a leader, we can be the example of what we expect from others. In order for leaders to achieve the results they're seeking, we must model the behaviors and actions that we expect from others. Sharing your vision. That's not just about articulating and communicating your vision. It's also about including others in the vision to the degree that they believe it's our vision. Leaders able to appeal to the shared aspirations of others and gain commitment can attain considerable progress towards the achievement of their goals. The key is getting others to believe in the vision and how fulfilling shared goals are beneficial to everyone. Enlisting others to believe in and commit to the vision requires passion and enthusiasm. It's not enough to get others involved. They must feel as though they are a part of something meaningful and significant in order to be moved with a strong desire to join the vision. When others are inspired to a shared vision, they eagerly embrace and take pride in participating in a positive capacity. Now, have you ever heard the saying, empty your cup? The cup is a metaphor for the mind. It is a reference to our ego. We are so full of information, opinions, philosophy, doctrines, and beliefs that sometimes we're not open to learning anything new or open to new ways of doing things. In order to have the capacity to accept feedback, especially from others that we may consider our subordinates, we must sincerely have an open mind. Expecting the best from those around you is also very important for the Leaders Create Leaders mindset. I have heard people say countless times to hope for the best but expect the worst. The thing is, you're always going to get exactly what you expect. So if you believe the worst will happen or you expect the worst, that's exactly how you will experience every opportunity. The thing is, as leaders, we often take all the necessary steps to create the best team we can. We scour through countless resumes, searching for the most educated, the most experienced staff we can find. Some of us go through countless interviews until we just find the right person. But then, once they're in the position, we don't trust them to do the job that we hired them to do. Or we have invested in training and other opportunities to enhance learning and development, but still don't trust our staff to be autonomous. Just know that you've done your best and you have hired the best. Now let go of all the worry, fear, pride, and expect the best from those around you. Being authentic. Being authentic is about knowing yourself and being true to yourself. And that can be accomplished through self-awareness, objectivity, self-discipline, and transparency. As we talked about before, self-awareness is just being aware of your strengths and weaknesses and having the ability to acknowledge them. Objectivity is the ability to remain unbiased. Self-discipline is the ability to regulate our own behavior, even if that means not going along with others. And transparency is displaying our authentic selves to others. Being authentic allows you to build honest and trustworthy relationships. It reminds yourself and the people around you that you're human. You don't have to pretend you have it all figured out and that you have all the answers. Now that we've addressed the internal work to get our actions to align with our mindset, we can begin to focus on the external. We want to encourage and cultivate authentic empowerment in others. I use the phrase authentic empowerment because many times employees do not feel that we are genuinely creating the space for them to have power over their actions and outcomes. It's kind of like when my husband says to me, I let him think he's in charge. What he is really saying is that although I may say that he can make the decision, he really knows that I mean make the decision that I agree with. But we've all been there. We have all felt at some point in time that our decision is not really our decision. The truth is, authentic empowerment is an inside job. It is a state of inner authority. So how can we, as leaders, empower others so that they experience authentic empowerment? I've identified 4 steps, but I'm sure you can think of some other steps that you can do to encourage authentic empowerment in others. First step is we must be deliberate. When we are deliberate, we acknowledge that there's a disconnect between leaders and employees, and we take steps to bridge the gap. Begin with open dialogue that involves listening and understanding. Then using the Leaders Create Leaders mindset, begin taking the necessary steps to show employees that you are making a new leadership commitment that involves empowering them. Second, we must seek alignment. It is important to seek alignment and not buy-in. Employees are not fooled by the buy-in approach. Leaders use buy-in to give a false sense of empowerment, but it actually does more harm than good. When leaders don't follow through with their promises of trust and autonomy, it inspires cynicism instead of engagement. Seeking alignment allows employees to express themselves about the work they do and how it aligns with the leader's expectation and the organization's goals. Third step is we must keep our word. Keeping our word is simple. The point here is to not undermine the authority you give to your employees ever. If you give them authority to certain decisions and responsibilities, you must support them, which also means providing the resources they need to be successful. And lastly, we must reinforce the message. You can reinforce the message by respecting the authority you've given and acknowledge the positive outcome. Continue to coach your employees as they make decisions. When they come to you with questions, offer a new perspective. Continue to encourage them to make the decision. It shows that you trust them to get to the right answer, but are willing to guide them until they are confident enough to make decisions on their own. Now that we're on our path to empowering leadership, what steps can we take moving forward? We can move forward by receiving coaching, feedback, and from evaluating outcomes. It can be one, any combination of the three, or all ongoing at the same time. Working with a coach will help you in many areas. Some of those are assessing the practicality and expediency of your goals and objectives, developing a plan to achieve measurable and tangible results, or clarify and help you reformulate your goals when necessary. Feedback, one of my favorite forms of getting feedback is what we call a 360-degree feedback. And that is gathering information about your behavior from managers, peers, customers, others, including yourself. It's one of the best ways to increase self-awareness of both strengths and weaknesses in leaders. The most effective use of 360-degree process is to link it with the use of a coach. However, it can be used as an independent professional development tool. And finally, evaluating outcomes from your journey of self-discovery with your coach allows you to celebrate your personal growth or identify more opportunities for personal and professional development. Some positive outcomes that you'll be able to identify from your personal professional program will include the heightened self-awareness, increased self-discovery, more effective thinking strategies and emotional regulation, increased ability to identify challenges, and many more. As you move forward in cultivating authentic empowerment, keep in mind that personal and professional development should never stop. There is always an opportunity to grow. Let's see what the time is and if we have any questions. Well, since we don't have any questions, I just want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I would love for you guys to keep in touch. And right now, just so you're aware, my team thought it was a good idea for me to rebrand since I'm joining the Godly family. And so my social media is still under construction, but I still would like you guys so much to reach out to me. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what your takeaways are. So if you would like, please email me at drjbhicks@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me at any of my social media. My tag is at Dr. JB Hicks for everything. Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook is coming soon. But thank you again. I'm so glad that you all could be here today. Enjoy the rest of your day.